Hello, lovely people. Welcome to Vab Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. In this video, I'll be teaching us how to make this knotted drape you see in the front of the skirt part of this gown. So before we get started, please ensure to click on the subscribe button to subscribe and make sure to put on your notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. So let's get
So
started.
this is the fabric I'll be using for my knotted drape. And here, the width of the fabric I have here is 26 inches in width. And then the length I have here is also, this is 27 inches. So to determine the length of this fabric, because you're going to be gathering it, that's to form the drapes, we'll need to gather it. So what I did was to multiply the measurement I have from waist to hip line. And for my client, from waist to hip line is 8 inches. So this 8 inches, I multiplied it by 3. So that gave me the width of the fabric I have here. So when you multiply 8 by 3, that will give us 24 inches. So I decided to just add 3 inches to that measurement. So that's why I have 27 inches. So this is going to be the down part of the down and the up part of my knotted drape. You can see that I have already hemmed this part like this, and I did the same thing on this side. So on this side, these are the parts I'm going to use to form my gathers around here, and then I also form the gathers around here. So I have already gone ahead to I've already gone ahead to sew my gather stitch. So I have loose stitch here. I use the longest stitch on my machine to achieve this loose stitch. So now I'm going to gather it to the measurement I have from waist to hip line. So can you see? So this is it. So I'm going to be gathering this to, remember I said that from waist to hip line is 8 inches. So I'm going to be gathering this to 10 inches so that it comes 2 inches below the hip line. So I'll gather this, what I have here, to 10 inches, and I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. So I've gathered my fabric to 10 inches. This is my 10 inches on this side, and I also have the same 10 inches on this side. So now the next thing I'm going to bring in is the fabric I'll be using to create the knot. And here the width of the fabric is 2 inches, and I've already gone ahead to stitch on half of an inch. Can you see? I cut the fabric on fold, 2 inches on fold, and I've gone ahead to stitch on half of an inch. So here the length of the fabric I have is 5 inches. I'm not going to use all of that, so I'm going to trim out my excess. So after stitching here, I'm going to turn my fabric inside out. Can you see? So I haven't turned it inside out. The part I have my stitched line, I'm going to bring it to the center like this. And then I'll press it with my steam iron. So now I have the fabric I'll be using to create my knot. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to fold my fabric into two like this. So can you see? So now I have the midpoint of my fabric. So I can just use my pressing iron to create a crease line so that it's easy for me to identify where the center is. So can you see? So now the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in this fabric I'll be using to create my knot. So then I'll go ahead and gather this like this. Can you see? I'll hold it like this at the middle here. And then I'll use this to wrap it round. Can you see? So you want to make sure that you hold it very tight. Can you see how I'm trying to make it really, really firm inside here? So you can see this is what I have. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and stitch this point down. So As you can see, I've stitched the fabric which I'm using for the knot. So I'm just going to go ahead now and trim out the excess I have here. You want to make sure that you hold this as firm as possible. So this will determine how firm it will be at the center. So you want to try and stitch and trim very close to your seam line so that you don't have any excess. So now the next thing to do is to flip it this way like this. So can you see what I have here now? Can you see? So you just want to press it down so that it just arranges well. So next I'll bring in the gown I'll be placing this drape on. The gown I'll be placing my knotted drape on. So this is our front piece. So the first thing I'm going to do is to get my center line, that's the center front. So from my crease line here, I can see my center line already. Or you just take your measurement from here to here. So I have 17 inches in all. So the midpoint of 17 inches is 8.5. So I'm just going to mark to indicate that this is where my center line is. So next I'll bring in my knotted drape and then place it like this. So make sure that the center, because this is the middle here of the knotted drape, so I'm just going to mark the middle here. I'll place it this way. This is where it will be on the middle part. So you don't want to shift this knot to this side or to this side. You want to make sure that you centralize it. So having done that, I'm going to arrange it like this. Can you see? So So having placed my drape, I'm going to pin this to the center here. This is so that it doesn't shift from this point. So I'm just going to hold it down with my pin like this. So you can see that I have some excess here. I didn't cut exactly the hip measurement. I cut it with excess. I'm going to trim out my excess. So now I'll go ahead and start arranging my drapes. I'll be starting from the waistline here. So I'm just going to pin here first. So remember, the width of my gathers is 10 inches. So just going to arrange it. So from waist to 10 inches stops at this point. You can see that. Just going to keep arranging it like this. So just make sure that you drag it so that you don't have any bulkiness. You want it to be firm around here. So you want to make sure that you drag out all your excess. Just stretch it out a little like this. Okay, so can you see that? So this is what I have on this side. So I'm going to repeat exactly the same thing on this side. So, so as you can see, I'm done pinning my drapes. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and stitch it down. So I'm going to stitch it down. I'll repeat the same thing on this side. Then I'll trim out my excess and come back and show us. So I'm done stitching my drapes to the sides, and I also repeated the same thing here. So I went ahead to use my lining to turn the sides. Can you see that you can't see where I joined my drapes here? So it's in between my lining and the main fabric. So you can see it came out really beautiful. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to tack this part where I have my knot down to the skirt. That's down to this part. So I'm going to tack it with my needle and thread. I'll make sure that my thread does not show on the lining part. As I'm going to be tacking only on my satin. So you can see this is separated. I'll tack it down here. And that's that. So we have come to the end of this video. If you did enjoy watching this video and you learned something from this video, please like this video, share this video with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.